Be honest. When you stumble upon a woman living completely alone, no boyfriend, no partner, not even the faintest whisper of her seeking one, what's your first instinct? Do you quietly pity her perhaps? Brand her impossibly picky G? Or is it that classic comforting lie? Oh, she's definitely nursing a heartbreak, bless her soul. Let me shatter that illusion. Let me reveal a truth so stark, so utterly unsettling, it might just make your carefully constructed worldview crumble. She's not lonely. She's dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Unmasking the collective delusion. Dangerous? Absolutely, but not to herself. No, her very existence is a direct, undeniable threat to us. To every ancient moldering definition of human fulfillment we've clung to with desperate generational certainty. From the cradle, a pervasive, insidious lie was meticulously woven into the fabric of our understanding. That a human's ultimate purpose is to complete someone else, to be filled by a relationship, to be saved from the terrifying abyss of solitude. This wasn't merely a cultural norm, it was the invisible, unbreakable contract we all signed, the gospel whispered into our collective unconscious, dictating worth, success, and happiness. It's the silent agreement that tells us anything less than a pair is inherently incomplete, a life tragically unfulfilled. This ingrained narrative is so powerful, it becomes the very air we breathe, unquestioned and unseen. But then she emerges, a woman dwelling in her own space. She is whole, undeniably, unapologetically whole. She requires no external validation, no other half, no grand rescue narrative to feel complete. And that, in its raw, unadorned truth, that unwavering, self-contained sufficiency, is precisely when the fragile, deceptive curtain of societal expectation violently rips apart. The existential rebellion, the burden and brilliance of radical freedom. Why is her wholeness so profoundly dangerous? Because she dares to live a naked truth that almost no one has the courage to confront. She is living proof of what existential philosophers have screamed from the mountaintops for ages. You are not born with a pre-assigned essence, a predefined role waiting to be filled. You are not merely a puzzle piece manufactured to complete someone else's picture. Your existence precedes your essence. You are hurled into being, and then you define who you are through your choices, your actions, your very way of living. You are born with one singular, terrifying, yet utterly exhilarating gift: absolute freedom. The terrifying freedom to define yourself from scratch, to bear the weight of meaning-making in a universe inherently indifferent. The daunting liberty to sculpt the very meaning of your own existence, moment by agonizing moment, choice by deliberate choice. You are not meant to wait for definition. You are not meant to beg for validation. You are simply to be. She chooses. She does not wait. She authors her own life's script, every line, every comma, every audacious, unconventional plot twist. This is radical autonomy, a profound act of self-creation. And it is precisely this defiant self-ownership that collapses the very architecture of control intricately woven into a society that desperately tries to cage us within the suffocating confines of normal happiness. Her refusal to conform isn't arrogance. It's the courage to exist authentically in a world that demands assimilation, a world that punishes deviation from its established, comfortable norms. Her choice reveals the inherent anguish of freedom, that dizzying vertigo Sartre described. Yet she not only endures it, she transmutes it into an art form. Her soul, it's not a teacup waiting to be filled. It's a vast, boundless ocean, eternally complete within itself. She isn't searching for a small river to flow into, to be contained or defined by its banks. No, She seeks another ocean so they can converge and overflow together, expanding into something infinitely grander, mutually enriching, without ever diminishing either. She fundamentally refuses to be confined to a mere cup or a shallow pond because she understands the impossibility of true fulfillment when one's innate existential freedom is compromised. This isn't merely a preference. It is a philosophical imperative, a testament to an awakened consciousness. Her audacious choice to exist alone isn't a symptom of loneliness. It's a resounding no that reverberates against every expectation, every unworthy demand, every half-hearted offering, every relationship that ever made her feel less than. And simultaneously, it's a powerful, unequivocal yes to herself, to her intrinsic value, to her evolving truth. This isn't just a personal preference. It's a profound existential declaration, an act of supreme self-governance in a world that covertly demands conformity. The unseen war, peace as her most potent weapon. They brand her cold, aloof, or even arrogantly detached. Do you truly understand what those labels are? They are fear, raw, visceral fear. The primal terror emanating from those still living in fragmented states, perpetually waiting for someone else to complete their emotional equations, to fill their voids. They witness her self-contained completeness, and it acts like a brutal, unflinching mirror, reflecting their own unaddressed emptiness, their own profound needs for external validation, right back at them with chilling, undeniable clarity. This isn't just fleeting discomfort. It's an existential dread, a confrontation with their own unlived potential, their own unexercised freedom, forcing them to acknowledge their own complicity in their perceived incompleteness. It is the deep discomfort of seeing someone fully inhabit their being when you are still waiting for a script. She doesn't embrace solitude to escape the world, to hide from its incessant superficial demands. She cultivates solitude to prevent herself from being utterly lost within the world's chaotic, consuming currents. The profound silence surrounding her isn't an absence. It's a sacred sanctuary, a fortress meticulously built not to shut others out, but to preserve her innermost self inviolable, undisturbed, a space for authentic self-communion. It is within this sacred, quiet crucible that she courageously confronts every terrifying ghost she once avoided. The lingering echoes of childhood wounds, the raw ache of unspoken abandonments, the deceptive allure of attachments subtly disguised as love. This self-confrontation is the ultimate act of courage, for it is far easier to project one's shadow onto others than to face it within the quiet confines of one's own being, to stare into the abyss of one's own untamed authenticity. What you perceive now isn't coldness, it's the profound, often deeply uncomfortable state of emotional maturity. And maturity is inherently terrifying because it demands unflinching presence, unyielding depth, and an unwavering commitment to brutal truth. It strips away the facades, the pleasantries, the superficial niceties we use to navigate social waters. She doesn't seek to be saved from her own being, or from the world's perceived dangers. She demands to be seen, truly, wholly seen, without pretense, without agenda, without the need for rescue. This is the authentic demand of the liberated soul, a demand few are truly prepared to meet, for it requires them to shed their own masks. The alchemist of self. From scars to sovereign strength. Here's where her danger truly crystallizes, where her journey becomes a searing indictment of superficiality. She is an alchemist of the self, transforming leaden experiences into golden wisdom. Her decision to stand alone didn't spring from a fresh, gaping wound, an impulsive retreat from unbearable pain. No, it emerged from a scar that finally, irrevocably healed, transformed by the crucible of relentless experience into a testament of resilience, a map of her enduring strength. She didn't stop believing in the possibility of genuine love. No, the truth is far more nuanced, more profound. She simply ceased accepting what others dared to call love when it only served to diminish her, to make her feel smaller, less vibrant, utterly unseen, a mere shadow of her boundless true self. This woman knows chaos intimately. She's loved until she was utterly lost. She's given too much, poured out her very essence for those who would only collect crumbs of her affection, who never saw the feast she offered. She's begged for pieces of attention that never should have been withheld in the first place, compromising her own essence for fleeting conditional validation. But at some pivotal point, the relentless series of disappointments stopped merely hurting. They started teaching. Her awakening wasn't a sudden, blinding flash of insight. It was a slow, agonizing, yet ultimately triumphant unraveling of false beliefs meticulously sown by societal narratives and personal traumas. What you see now isn't coldness, it's the hard-won clarity born from having walked through fire and choosing not to burn to ashes but to emerge refined, forged anew. This depth, this relentless inner work, this unwavering self-possession, this is what truly sets her apart. She's not just selective, she's discerning. Having earned her intuition through the harrowing yet illuminating fires of experience, she has faced her personal abyss, stared into the void of her own freedom, and found herself whole, sovereign and powerfully present on the other side, redefining love, an overflow, not a filling, not a rescue. She doesn't yearn for just any kind of love, any fleeting connection to ease the pressure or silence the societal clock. She craves something that fundamentally does not diminish her essence, something that nourishes, elevates, and expands her very being. She seeks a love that mirrors her own radical freedom, not one that seeks to contain, define, or diminish it. She isn't searching for someone to complete her. That concept is an archaic myth, a societal pacifier, a convenient excuse for codependency that traps millions. She is already a complete, intricate universe unto herself. Her deepest longing is for a partner who has also arrived at their own luminous completeness, so they can overflow together, mutually evolving and expanding side by side, never sacrificing their individual light or freedom. True love, from this liberated existential perspective, isn't about two halves desperately finding each other to form a singular dependent whole. It's about two vibrant, self-sufficient universes meeting, and through their conscious, reciprocal union, becoming something infinitely vaster, richer, and more complex. It is a celebration of two entireties, a dynamic interplay of abundant selfhood, not a patchwork of two deficiencies. This is a love born of abundance, not lack, of freedom, not entanglement. And if that kind of profound, self-honoring, overflowing love hasn't yet manifested, she holds her ground with unwavering conviction. She would rather wait indefinitely, cultivating her own boundless inner world, than survive on mere emotional crumbs or settle for a connection that diminishes her vibrant spirit. To many, this stance may reek of arrogance, an impenetrable pride that defies convention. But in its purest, most undiluted form, it is nothing less than radical self-love, an unwavering, fierce testament to her intrinsic, non-negotiable worth. It is a defiance of the societal clock that dictates when and how one must find a partner, and a powerful rebellion against the shallow availability and performative connections of modern culture. The silent revolution, her unyielding presence as a force of change. Perhaps what genuinely unsettles people most about this woman isn't her solitude at all. It's the profound, unshakable peace she has discovered within her own being. A peace that utterly negates the need for any external validation, applause, or societal approval. This peace is not just personal, it is a revolutionary act. Her very existence serves as living, breathing proof. It is entirely possible to be incandescently happy, utterly complete, and profoundly fulfilled without depending on anyone else. This inconvenient truth tears down the masks of men who, perhaps unknowingly, feed on female insecurity to validate their own fragile egos, revealing their own reliance on a partner's perceived need for completion. It makes women still entangled in the perpetual need for external approval feel profoundly judged, forcing them into uncomfortable, often painful self-reflection about their own choices and compromises, their own willingness to trade freedom for comfort. Yet she isn't here to confront anyone. She is simply being, authentically, unapologetically, undeniably. Her mere presence is a catalyst for existential reckoning. The sheer magnetic authenticity of someone who has consciously liberated herself is, by its very nature, a brutal mirror to those still living in chains, bound by invisible expectations and unexamined desires. She doesn't fight for attention. She effortlessly radiates presence. She no longer passively waits to be chosen. She does the choosing. This complete, audacious reversal of traditional logic profoundly confuses, disorients, and often overtly threatens those who still cling to outdated notions of feminine control and subservience. Her journey is a manifestation of true self-actualization, a concept far beyond the comfortable confines of societal norms, an embodiment of what it means to be truly free. The world fears women like her, women who don't need, women who don't bow, women who resolutely refuse to be molded into predefined societal roles, into palatable versions of themselves designed for consumption. Because they bravely challenge invisible structures, question ancient patterns, and shatter silent emotional contracts that once dictated a woman's worth was solely tied to her partnership status. And when she shatters those contracts, when she courageously rewrites her own narrative, she inspires countless others to find their own hidden courage, to break their own chains, to embark on their own terrifying journey of freedom. And that, to the established system, is dangerously revolutionary. This is where her quiet leadership takes root. She doesn't preach from a pulpit. Her very existence is the sermon. She doesn't need to instruct. Her presence creates a new standard. Those who cannot meet the authenticity she embodies, who are threatened by her unyielding truth, will simply recede from her orbit. But for those who are also yearning for deeper connection, who are weary of the superficial dance, she becomes a silent beacon. Her boundaries aren't walls, they are filters, ensuring that only those capable of true reciprocity, those who have also begun their own existential work, can enter her sacred space. She inadvertently becomes a gatekeeper of quality connections, raising the bar for what genuine relationship can be. She models a different way to be in the world, not isolated but sovereign in connection, where every bond is chosen, not clung to out of fear. Her life is a quiet invitation to authenticity, a challenge to live beyond default. The ultimate truth: love begins and ends with you. So perhaps deep down within you, even when you valiantly try to ignore it, a quiet, persistent question pulses, echoing in the deepest chambers of your heart. What if that silent path, that profound journey of radical self-discovery, is actually the only one that truly leads to the most important kind of love? The love that profoundly begins with and ultimately resides within you? Because when a woman dares to choose to walk alone, to stand in her own complete self-defined light, the world may rush relentlessly to convince her she's making a grave, unfixable mistake. But deep within her, something ancient, something undeniable is aligning. It's not arrogance. It's a rare kind of wisdom, a quiet, unshakable knowing that can only be forged in the crucible of solitude, in the harrowing yet liberating confrontation with radical freedom and the awesome responsibility it brings. Video isn't just about a woman alone. It's about the universal human journey towards authentic self-mastery, towards reclaiming your inherent sovereignty. It's a mirror held up to all of us, asking, how much freedom are you willing to claim? How much of your true self are you willing to unleash? If this message resonated deeply with you, if it sparked an aha moment of recognition, or if it made your inner rebel hum, please hit that like button, share it with someone who urgently needs to hear this truth, and subscribe to our channel for more insights into psychology, philosophy, and the profound journey of mastering your inner world. Tell us in the comments below, what uncomfortable truth have you discovered about yourself, perhaps a truth that directly contradicts what society has always told you? We want to hear your own dangerous story.